on Outback truckers.
This is a good office seat up here.
Dougal Brett's road trains have to haul 1,500 cattle to a market 3,000 kilometres away.
We will put our balls on the line and get them out.
But the dirt tracks on his remote station are wet and getting wetter.
Not good for road trains.
Like if you get one of these bogged, he could sit there for wet.
Heavy haulage driver Mark King has a massive problem on his hands.
Hot spots on the road where the asphalt's starting to bleed through.
A huge 100-tonne mining truck he has to haul 700 kilometres.
We're fighting this road at the minute.
And veteran truckie Steve Graham...
This is seriously bad news.
...has been trying for nearly 2 weeks to get to a remote community in the wilds of northern Australia.
It's one of those trips, you just got to bow your head and it'll be over.
Just 50 kilometres short, disaster struck. If Steve can't beat this bog, it's the end of the road.
This is the worst I've ever been.
Dougal Brett is one unusual truckie.
We've got to process them and select them, ready for the exporter.
He flies his own helicopter, owns a cattle station the size of a small country.
We might have the yard up in 2 lots. There might be too many to fit in the yard.
And a fleet of livestock trucks.
We enjoy carting cows. Like, we're called the turd herders. And some blokes don't like manure and dust and shit all over them.
Push.
Whereas we enjoy all that.
Black hole.
Dougal is getting ready to truck 1,500 head off his Waterloo station in Australia's top end to markets in Darwin and Blackall in Queensland, a 3-day drive away.
Cows and calves can shoot straight out here, off our draft.
He's depending on money from the sale to pay bills that have been piling up since the previous season, when a live export ban crippled the market.
We're in a tough industry, and you either make it or you can not make it very quickly.
Tomorrow we load.
Push.
It's a long run. If anything goes wrong, you're pretty much in the middle of Australia. So you'll be right in the middle of nowhere. And that's when it can get serious.
We need to get these cattle sold so we get money in the bank, and then that will allow us to keep paying accounts and paying our interest over the next 6 months. We've got to get more fuel before the wet really kicks in. So of course we need to sell cattle to be able to pay for that. So it's really crucial.
We have an 8-metre wide load travelling southbound.
Yeah, I reckon that'd be a good idea, man. Can you copy that?
Yeah, there's a bit of a merge lane there when we get through it, so we'll grab you those.
Yeah, right.
Heavy haulage driver Mark King is halfway through a mammoth job. He's in charge of getting a monster mining truck from Brisbane to the central Queensland coalfields, 700 kilometres away.
Complete dump truck, when it's put together and working on the mine site, you're looking, I believe, it's around about 160 tonne. The trays weigh about 45 tonne. The chassis that comes on the back of a semi-trailer is 105 tonne.
That's the equivalent of over 100 cars sitting on the back of his truck. But weight is not his only problem.
When you're travelling down the road with a load like this at 8 metres wide, you've got a pilot car out the front, oversized load of head sign, 2 flashing lights, headlights, spotlights flicking from side to side. People just need to take a deep breath when they see them and look, turn the radio down, hang the phone up and say, okay, there's something big coming at me.
Mark's convoy has to navigate a series of mountain passes. On these roads, there's no margin for error.
Heading up the Gagango range at the moment. Pretty narrow through here, a few windy paths. no room for anyone else to be on the road with us, so we've got Queensland Police at the top of the hill with the road closed.
Mark's 32. That's young for this job that carries big responsibility.
Any big fellas, can you hold it at the top of the hill for us, please?
Now back to second gear, and hopefully this gear will hold us.
There's a police and pilot escort to help him, but it's Mark who gets blamed if anything goes wrong.
As we come out through here, we jump onto the higher side of the road. The camber of the road will make the trailer pull into the hill a bit, and it's just harder work for the truck to keep it coming up around the corner. This is another reason we need the police to shut the whole range down, because we're on the wrong side of the road totally now. Right at the moment, we're sitting on about 9 kilometres an hour. We'll just hold this speed all the way to the top. Flick my computer over and have a look. At the moment, I'm getting 120 metres to the litre on diesel. The road's hot. Your gearbox temperature, everything can start to climb up when you're working pretty hard pulling through the hills.
On a lonely dirt road at the top of northwestern Australia, veteran Perth truckie Steve Graham is a broken man.
This is seriously bad news.
After an epic 3,000-kilometre trek from Perth to the remote coastal community of Columbaroo, he's fallen just 50 kilometres short of his destination.
This is the worst I've ever been, and I did not expect to lose sight of this here in this road.
Part of a dirt track has collapsed under the weight of his 100-tonne road train, burying the last 2 trailers up to their axles.
Now we're held up another day here. The blokes that went before me on graders and in four-wheel drives, no one picked it. There was just a bit of road there that was soft underneath.
Graders will try to pull him out. If this last attempt fails and more rain falls, Steve's trailers could be stuck here for the entire wet season. The back trailers are going nowhere.
It's a day's work here. Let's get these off.
Steve has no choice but to cut his losses and try to get the front trailers through.
Righto, Greg, I'll rock him. Just keep that lock on the other side open while I'm rocking him, all right? You ready?
Let him go, let him go. Go!
Let's get going. This is a setback that I really and truly didn't need.
Steve has less than 50 kilometres to go, but it's on a road that was never designed for a road train.
This is a bad little jump up that's a real doer.
Even the smallest hill can be a struggle.
It's one of those trips, you just got to bow your head, it'll be over, you know? You just got to keep on attacking it. Finishes, the next trip's a good one. This is a bad trip.
Waterloo Cattle Station in Australia's Northern Territory, it seems the wet season has arrived early.
So the condition of the roads is muddy. not good for road trains.
It's bad news for cattle station owner Dougal Brett.
So we're better off leaving them in the shed. Like if you get one of these bogged, he could sit there for the wet. And plenty of road trains have sat on dirt roads for the whole wet.
That could be months, and there's a lot at stake.
It's $1 million. By the time you put new trailers and a decent truck in front, like built for out here, and the 140-tonne rated and triple rated truck and a few amenities for drivers, like it's no change out of $1 million.
If the rain sets in, his cattle don't go to market.
I'll just give it a couple of hours and see what the weather does.
And he doesn't get paid.
Which way is it coming, Norm? That bottom cloud's coming across and that other top one's moving away the other way, isn't it?
Where it's coming?
From the north, Normie?
Yep.
We've been getting these storms in the early hours of the morning, and Dougal and I wake and say, oh, rain, we don't need it.
He's tempted to take a risk, but it could be a huge mistake.
We've got a lot of black soil, a lot of gravel roads, and the wetter and wetter it gets, like the road trains will fall through the surface of the road. So I've just got to ring an agent and just put them back a day, just due to the weather. The dramas of wet weather. If it keeps raining, we won't move in here.
If this is the wet season setting in, then Dougal and his wife Emily are in strife. They could lose an entire year's income.
Will you see Norm?
Yep.
Can you give him that pace?
It is critical. We will put our balls on the line and get them out. Like, we will go, yeah, when it starts, it'll be on.
Rain, it looks like rain coming over there. Doesn't look much.
After abandoning 2 of his trailers, Steve Graham is moving again, but his problems are far from over.
It's collapsing under me here, the shit.
Up ahead is another black soil bog.
Got to get through this bit of black soil before it gets here.
Without his back trailers, he's lighter and shorter.
Here it is.
But no truck was built for this. This black soil is thick, deep clay that sucked each of his wheels deep into a groove. Once again, the graders from the community come to his rescue.
Black soil bog hole that everyone was concerned that I wouldn't get through. I got through that all right, but the drama is I've got 2 trailers sunk out of sight back there. I've got to get this one in, get it unloaded, get back there. To do that tomorrow morning, I need the rain to hold off.
Up ahead is Steve's final obstacle, the Carson River.
If it doesn't pour with rain here, we'll get them in tomorrow. Or halfway in or something. I just got to hope the rain holds off.
It's flooded but passable. He needs to get to it before these showers turn into storms and crossing the river gets too dangerous.
Now, find out what's gone up or down since this morning. It's flowing fast, but I don't think it's that deep. We were all concerned that we'd get across the Carson River. That was the major focal point. The Carson River was going up in front of us. It's a bit deeper than normal. We'll just whack the graders on. I'll have a good gauge of how deep it's going to be because I'll be following the graders through. It's just slippery with this little bit of rain, but the river could rise by a metre in an hour, so we best get into it. We're going to get across now while we got some light. If I was sitting in that river and the water came up over and filled the engine up with water and the diffs up with water and the gearbox up with water and the fuel tanks up with water, it's all over. A dead road train bogged and drowned. The sky's closing in, I hate it. You don't park your truck in the Carson River for a night. I'm concerned about the depth. I wouldn't want the river to be any deeper. I could hear it running through my radiator. Just got to be through it quick.
King's oversized haulage truck has cleared another mountain range. On the uphill stretch, the trailer and its giant load took over the entire road. Now, cars and trucks want to get past.
If there is traffic behind us, the buck stops with me.
Just coming up on you now, mate.
Yeah, a lot of the times on the road you're calling 8 metres. A lot of them don't understand what 8 metres is, so you find yourself calling 6 brick pallets wide.
8 metres wide.
If you say 6 brick pallets wide, they go, geez, that's big.
Thank you very much, mate. Appreciate it. You have a wonderful day. Yeah, you too, buddy.
The escort lets him know how much traffic is behind, but it's Mark who decides who passes and when.
They call me. I say to them, okay, leave it with me. I then look around, check it out, check the conditions, make sure the sides of the roads are good enough. Then call the lead car to make sure there's no traffic coming at me.
Mate, make sure that it's all clear.
Then call upon the police car to make sure that he's on the wrong side of the road, and if any traffic does come, he can stop.
We'll get across onto the wrong side of the road and we'll run all the traffic behind us up our left-hand side so that they stay in their correct lane. Sometimes get a bit confused and trying to get them to come around you when there's a double white line, even though it's under police direction. You get one car that's a bit hesitant, we can't get anyone around.
It's only then, when I've got those all okays from everybody, I'll then relay it to the rear pilot car and say, safe to come by.
500 off the overtaker, Stewie, I am.
Yeah, we'll get all the traffic around up here, Nick. We got to back it right off.
And then he has to count the cars to me as they're coming. So as they come past me, I know if he says there's 9, I'm counting through. Bang, there's 9. I then call the police car that's in front to let him know there's 9 coming up behind him. Which car is the last car that he's going to have to deal with, so he can be alert for it. Otherwise, we could have one up the arse of the other one.
Thank you very much for that. You've done well, I'm very proud of you.
Thanks, Pop.
No problem.
got to make the job happen. And your job is a lot easier when other people on the road can appreciate that. We're not out here to piss everybody off and cause their, make their day bad. We're all out here to try and do a job together. Thanks for your patience there, old mate.
At Waterloo Station, the rain that stopped Dougal Brett from loading his cattle has cleared. The race is now on to get the cattle rounded up and into trucks before more wet season rain makes the muddy roads even wetter.
We've got a window on the weather. We've got to move now. We miss the window, it's off. It's all finished.
When you get the 5 extra, just make sure you know their sexes. Righto, mate.
Driving cattle trucks with 3 double-decker trailers carrying over 200 swaying animals is regarded as one of the toughest trucking jobs there is. And on bad roads, it's twice as tough. It's the start of a 3,000-kilometre run for Dougal. For the next 3 days, he'll barely leave the truck's cabin.
He'll work big hours. Anywhere from 16 to 18 a day. It's loaded, so it's all good.
It may have dried up, but the weather is still a concern.
So we've just got the grader here as well. In case we get stuck, it's going to pull us through a couple of bog holes.
The wet season here can last 5 or more months. And once it starts, you can be stuck. The rush is on to get the trucks off the station and to better roads.
Raining, look. There's a storm right there.
Because of their height, size and live cargo, cattle trucks get priority on Australia's roads. Even Mark King's oversized load gives them a wide berth.
Stock rates we give right away to all the time, like they're about the only truck you sort of will get off the road to get around. They're heavy, they're loaded high, so your centre of gravity is a long way off the ground, and as you can see, the shoulders of the road, they're nothing flash. So you get a bit of angle on the side of the road, and yeah, crates will just fall over. And hey, we all like a steak at the end of the day, so we've got to get them to town. Oh mate, that stock crate up there, is he loaded?
Yes, it ain't loaded.
No, bloke, no drama, just do what you can, we'll work around you. Not a great deal of room for him to go. I've got my rear pilot, he'll talk me through, give me a clearance that I've got between him. We'll just back right off here and we'll run across with my tyres just on the edge of my shoulder, and we should get through here, I'm guessing, with probably about a foot. A bit of luck, we'll have about a foot through here. Nice and slow, nice and steady, keep an eye on everything, and we're clear of him. Thanks so much for that, okay?
Yeah, you can ride on that.
Dougal Brett won't be seeing any traffic for the next 80 kilometres. That's how far it is to the highway, and the road off his property is slow going.
Up here, it can take you hours even to get nowhere.
A live load makes it even more difficult.
You're looking at nearly 56 tonne just in animals moving around. And that's the thing, like they're standing on 4 legs, so they're moving you around as well. Going through creeks, you can feel them shunning, but when you move the steering wheel like that, you can feel it like a big snake, and you can feel it. That's why When it's a little bit wet, we've got to try and stay right up and not let a trailer drop off the side because it'll slip down and then it could roll over. Pretty easy. We've got away with another load, so it's all good. So it's taken us an hour and a half to do 43k, but at least we're out, that's a good thing. I wouldn't worry if it took me 5 hours.
The convoy is still not off the dirt when the day's good run comes to an abrupt end.
Got help, makes it a bit quicker.
Changing a tyre on a road train in the blistering outback heat is never fun.
You got the other one, mate? Yeah. Cheers, mate.
But changing one on a cattle truck with over 200 animals moving overhead is a whole new ball game.
I got the job in the shade. Got a cock, see? You going, Bull?
Making the tyre change even trickier is the wet ground.
No, the road keeps giving away. It's wet.
It's a tough, sweaty job.
You going?
And it has to be done fast.
Come on, quick, mate, I'm sinking. You going, mate? Right. First trip, one tyre. Hope it gets better.
Finally, the convoy makes it onto the bitumen.
We've got all our cattle out that we wanted to get out. So now the man upstairs can do what he wants to do. It can rain, hail or shine, and we're pretty much safe.
But getting onto the good road brings its own hazards.
Look at this, how stupid this is.
In the middle of nowhere, 2 touring cyclists.
If we get too close, we can blow them off the bike or suck them back into your trailers. Another road train's coming around this corner, we're in the shit. Oh, they annoy you, you know, like, they stay in the lane, and then if we went around the corner as a truck there, we would have an accident. I don't mind them being on the road, but it's dangerous, mate. We've got like 130 tonne pushing us down a hill. They don't understand. Like, who would be riding a push bike down here in this heat? Who would ride a push bike anyway down here? Like, we invented an engine.
Steve Graham has crossed the last flooded river between him and his destination of Columbaroo. But his water worries aren't over. A massive storm's come out of nowhere.
This bloody thunderstorm. There's no way that this shit was on the weather map this morning. The satellite photo, the weather's clearing, there was nothing on the radar. If you're going to be out and about in this part of the country this time of the year, you're going to end up driving through a thunderstorm, whether you're on the bitumen or on the dirt here. It's just that out here on the dirt, everything's covered in mud, your feet, your hands and all the rest of it. It's no fun.
Well, what about that black soil stretch on the last creek, just before we go in?
Well, I don't know. How deep was it?
Well, the whole centre of the road, no one's been using it. You know where it walks out going down into that creek where the swimming pool is on the right? Pretty bloody slippery.
I'm trying to get in there before it gets too wet. See, it's dry. It hasn't rained here. It's dry under there.
There's a bypass round the back road.
No, I won't go there. Just get, yeah, I've got to get in there, you know?
Yeah, righto.
Steve's truck is bogged again, just walking distance from his destination.
I've got 2 trailers back there. Well and truly sunk. We unhooked 2 and left them there to get the food and stuff in. It's a setback. If it really and truly rains and the wet season sets in, they'll stay there for the wet season, and that's a nightmare. The worst bog I've ever heard of was a bloke called Noah, and he was 40 days. It just, time goes. You just got to relax and just do it steadily.
By now, he's used to waiting, but not everyone understands what Steve's going through.
There are people involved who would have no idea. If you said it's hard, they think hard's going to the cricket on Sunday and the sun's on them. Right now I'm going to go into town and have a cup of coffee and take the day as it comes from there. This is turning into a bit of an epic one. This is definitely an epic one. Nightmarish.
Got you go?
Yeah, the next big pull, mate, sweating all the way in the wheel tracks.
Right, mate, thank you.
On the road to the Rolleston coal mine in central Queensland, Mark King is worried about the heat.
I'm happy when this thing's off the back. Now we've got 40 k's to go.
The temperature has passed the 40-degree mark, and that's doing dangerous things to the road surface.
It's been a very hot day out here today. The road's starting to sweat. The oil's coming out of the asphalt, and as all the trucks and whatever's driving across it, it seems to just massage the road so that it ends up slippery. Crash, when we go up through here, mate, just give us a heads up if you can sort of see any pretty savage tracks out the back of you, would you?
All right, mate, yep.
So we've already lost traction a couple of times. Half a turn on a tyre can sometimes pull you up in a big hurry.
Copy there, mate. Approach the pilot vehicle.
This road's sweating pretty bad up here at the minute, and it's a good pull up a hill, around a corner. So we'll just see how we go.
Not yet.
Mark's worried his rig's 175-tonne weight and 650 horsepower engine could start ripping up the melting road from underneath him.
Right now it's bleeding real bad. Bit of wheel spin there. Not a great deal I can do. There's no sort of real spot I can go because it's bleeding both sides. But we're giving it our best crack at the minute, and it is losing traction. The wheels are leaving pretty good marks on the road. Probably about 2/3 way up the hill at the minute. We've got a little pinch at the top here. That'll be the one that lets us know if we're going to get over the top. We're fighting this road at the minute. They don't want to let me up.
After leaving his cattle station almost 2 days ago, Dougal Brett's animals have to be given their second regulatory break off the truck. It'll be a rest for the passengers, who'll stay in a holding yard near the highway.
Done. I think I can knock off now. But no, they've all travelled down safely. They're all getting a drink. Everyone walked off and everyone's right, so it's good. Put them in a nice big yard down the back, so they settle down.
The next day arrives and Dougal's in the dead heart of central Queensland. He still has another 12 hours of driving ahead of him.
It does get tough now because it's getting hot, and this is when you can have maintenance failure and driver failure.
On the open road, his fuel consumption improves, but at times he can be averaging only a litre a kilometre.
But it all depends how heavy you are. And if you're on a hill or flat, that's why you try and stop on top of hills so you can roll off and get back to your maximum speed as quick as possible. Pulling in a little parking bay, just check the cattle.
Yeah, just pull up every couple of hours and just check the animals. They've got plenty of room. So far, everything's going all right. But it can go to shit quick.
It's bloody hot. Like, it's really hot. Like down, I couldn't even undo that fuel tank thing without using a glove.
Fueling up at roadhouses is expensive, and in the middle of the outback, there are few around. Instead, Dougal carries 2 spare tanks under the front trailers. Each carry 850 litres of diesel. From there, it's pumped into the running tanks.
The high 40s, where we are on this hot red ridge, probably 46, 47.
It's the middle of the day and the temperature is soaring.
Yeah, let's see how hot.
We should go and cook this egg. No, I'll keep the gas. It's a bit slow.
After a marathon 700-kilometre trek from Brisbane, Mark King's heavy haulage truck is now just down the road from the coal mine, where this massive dump truck will begin its working life.
It's time, we're backing down the gears here, we're about to swing on in, and here we are at the Rolston mine. Now let the fun begin, trying to get this thing off the back.
When you get to site, even though you're on their mine site, they come to you and they say, what do we need to do to get this off the back? And you then call the shots as well. Even though it's their show, when you're on their site, they still run it by you because it's your gear that it's sitting on. And it's your responsibility until it's totally off your truck.
Yeah, all good, man.
Good. Thanks very much, man. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Fully assembled with its 4 massive wheels back on, the machine will weigh nearly 170 tonnes, and it'll stand more than 7 metres high.
Once we get this machine to the site, we need a tyre handler machine, we need a tyre fitting crews, and that can take up to 3 to 4 hours.
The simplest way to get the truck off is to reattach each of the wheels so it supports itself. But putting a wheel on one of these is no small job. Each of the wheels weighs 5 tonnes.
I'm racing the sun at the minute. I've got to get this off this afternoon, because I need about half an hour of daylight driving to get me to town where I can have a shower, refresh, good night's sleep, and then make a mile tomorrow. If the sun goes down and we're still here, I'll still be here in the morning.
Once each wheel is securely attached, it's time for the final act of the journey. Sliding the trailer out from underneath.
A lot of people might look at it and go, oh, it's a dump truck. But when you see them working on the mine site, and you drive past and you look at it and you go, oh, I took that there. I got that out of the middle of a city and took it out of the middle of a mine. So you get a bit of pride just seeing, you know, the end picture. Happy days, last strap, and I can head to the gate, sign out, and it's pub time. Well earned cold beer for the day. The minute you drive out that gate at the mine, you look in the mirror and you see an empty trailer come behind you, you go, hey, job's done. You're proud of doing it. My next job is go home and mow my grass at my house, so I'll be home.
Dougal Brett has spent a long, hot day in the cabin of his cattle truck. Outside temperatures have been close to 50 degrees, making the setting sun a welcome sight.
It's a beautiful time at night to drive because it's cool. All your running gear, like your diffs, your gearboxes and your bearings and everything start dropping in temperature because it's cooler at night. And your animals, it's cooler.
He's driven halfway across Australia, over 2,000 kilometres. So far, it's been a regulation run. Until he spots a car stopped on the side of the highway.
Find out what's going on.
It's in the middle of nowhere. If Dougal doesn't help, it could be a long wait before the next vehicle comes along.
We've just got a couple of tourists here that pulled us up and they've done a fan belt, so we just got a strap off another bloke driving back to Mount Isa. Now you got to put your hazards on. Make sure you blokes know you got hazards work. Yep. What is it, an Sigma or something?
Wrong switch. Yeah, bring your torch in. Pass your torch.
Where's your blinkers, mate? Where'd you buy this bit of shit from? Hey? Hey? You got ripped, eh? Yeah. There's one, yeah, so there should be another one. There you go. Righto. Your bake's right then?
Yep, so we just sit it?
Yeah, you steer it. They'll drop you off, mate, at the first servo or something in town, you know?
Okay, thank you.
Righto, you're right, mate. Good way. We've just got the first car going that way, which is a four-wheel drive, luckily, up at Gero, so they're just going to tell them to into Winton and hopefully carton a beer for them, for helping them out in the middle of nowhere. That's bush currency, carton a beer. So they're lucky because it would have been a lonely night out here on the downs. We can tow it with this, but you don't feel them on the back and you end up, don't know if they're there or not there.
In the truck industry, there's a culture of if someone's down, you help them. Mate and mate, sort of. But anyone out here, you help. I mean, look where they are.
Dougal Brett has driven most of the night and is now on the last leg of his 3,000-kilometre trek from the Northern Territory.
Yeah, we've just gone through Blackall. Just had a sleep. We've got 70 k's to go out to the station. 60 k of dirt and 10 of bitumen. Get out there and we'll unload and job's done.
He's been waiting for this moment all year, when he can deliver his cattle to a fattening lot and get some much-needed cash in return.
a lot of pride in taking cattle from here 3,000 kilometres and get them to destination and they're not bruised, they'll walk off.
But on these rough roads, there's one last hurdle.
This mongrel corner up here. About 2 kilometres left to go, and then we're at our final destination. It looked like we weren't going to pull it off a couple of weeks ago. We really had to do it, or we were in the shit. It's just a massive relief. When it kept getting wetter and wetter, we knew it wasn't the wet season, it was just storms, but it could have been. We did doubt it a couple of times, but we weren't going to let on. Hey there, Em. Good mate yourself. Yeah, no, all unloaded at Dumfries. Oh, you miss the kids. And Mum, your wife, Emily. I miss them.
The horn on the truck's going madly as he comes in and they're out the back door quicker than I can say Dada's home.
There's that paperwork there, mate. So that's all good. Thanks very much, mate. Yeah. The pressure's off. We're finished. The year's done. And what has been a very treacherous year, it's turned out now to be quite okay. Thanks, mate. Year's over, truck's in the shed, so it's all done and dusted.
Just outside Columbaroo, the graders are getting ready for what Steve Graham hopes to be his final tow, on a trip he'll never forget.
Trevor?
Yeah.
I'm feeling good about it. What about you?
I'm feeling good about it.
Righto, you're the man. If you're feeling good, I'm good. Righto, mate, we'll do it. I'll hold up the stiff bar. You be doctor, look. Up, no, other way. Hook upwards. That's him. You got him, brother. You got him. Forward. Yeah, I'm getting to take up the slack. Let's give it a go. Pretty happy. I especially like it that the grader and loader drivers are happy, the local blokes, because they're keen to get this load in. They're really keen. Well, the whole thing's got a community spirit to it again. All the kids out watching it come in. Those blokes driving the graders, they're dads of some of those kids. Got a pretty good welcoming committee. Oh, if I toot the horn, everyone will stop. In a minute, I can't do it just yet. How you going, kids? Soon. Kid's got a toot, but Scotty stopped us. So ready? 1, 2, 3. One more. Look out, Devil Dog coming. Devil Dog. I'll drive into town by myself and go for glory. So everyone's involved. It's good. It's a good feeling to get this one in. What should take 10 days took more like 45 days. The bank manager's going to see a bit of red on the sheet, and life will go on from there. It's not the end of the world, it's one of those trips that you get them.